Alrighty, so we're back here with Al Milton. Thanks, Al, for showing us the garden. Now, so what can you tell us about food security in a nutshell? Because I know that when I first started, and as I mentioned earlier on in the video, when I first started, I didn't know anything about food security. And it was kind of a shock after reading all the statistics and stuff that you don't really hear a lot about it in the news and such, and especially being like a social service worker student, this was probably the first time, something that generally I guess affects or something social workers deal with, this is the first time that I've actually heard about it. So what can you tell me about, like what can you tell us about food security in a nutshell?
So food security is a broad topic, but what it's mainly just about making sure that the people who live in a country or city, citizens, they have enough food. They have food that does three things. So food that is healthy, that is culturally relevant to their culture, and that is enough. Like people have enough food, they don't go hungry. Food is healthy. It's not garbage, you know.
Yeah.
And it's relevant to people's culture and their cuisines and their traditions. So
Okay.
that's what food security, that's what its goals are, that's what it is.
Okay.
And to achieve those three goals, many countries do things differently. So in some countries they have a national food policy that supports the mandate of people getting enough food. Canada, we don't have one, right, Sean?
Yeah, no, we don't actually. And it's interesting to read that I think over 4 million Canadians are affected by food insecurity. And I guess it's 1.15 million children. So that's a lot, and especially to not hear about that, I find that a very interesting fact. Now, stuff like the garden, and you mentioned the cooking classes and stuff, like does that do a lot to help food insecurity? And food banks as well, if you want get your take on food banks as well.
Sure. Well, on the surface, it does appear that having gardens and teaching cooking classes are helpful. I mean, they're certainly fun and they can be enjoyable and educational. However, I find that many folks who are living on low incomes, they already know a lot about cooking. You know, they know how to cook. They know how to cut corners to make ends meet, and folks know how to garden. All the gardeners in the garden right now, they've been gardeners in the past as well, so that they already know how to garden. There's research that shows that the most effective way to increase people's food security is actually through making their financial situation better. Like that would involve like a minimum income plan or something, a basic living income, for example. It would involve making sure that ODSP and OW actually are living wages. People can actually function when receiving. It would mean increasing the minimum wage to a livable wage, especially in Toronto, where many folks who do work full-time are still living in poverty. When it comes down to it, if someone is living on a very low income, working full-time, gardening, while it is an enjoyable activity, it's a gentle physical activity and it's fun, it's educational. If you work a full week, 40 hours a week, making not enough money, will you have the time and energy to garden afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So it's give and take, right?
It's kind of difficult because you mentioned that a lot of the seniors garden here, but at the same time, after I guess researching it, that like as soon as you hit 65, your chances, like regardless of if you were high income or low income, your chances of being food insecure are like cut in half. So it's interesting to see that a lot of seniors are out here, but it doesn't necessarily address, I guess, how many percentage of people, I guess the huge percentage of people who are working, you know, not seniors, and they still can't afford food for the week.